So, should you start? I think you can start, Kamalika.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I'll start then. So, yeah, we stopped here where we talked about finite CA, reversibility for finite CA. So, we want to devise something better than the Boolean graph where you don't have to traverse again and again to find if many-to-one mapping exists in the CA or not. And that solution was new characterization tool named reachability tree. Reachability tree is specifically designed to characterize finite CA. So before going into the details of how this tool works, let us first discuss some preliminary definitions. First is RMT that I already discussed. So an RMT is a tuple of all neighbors of a rule, that is the argument of the rule. So it is a tuple S0 to Sn minus 1 if m is the size of the neighborhood and rule is s to the power n to s. Normally this RMT is represented by the decimal equivalent of the string Sn minus 1 to S0 or maybe the reverse way, whatever way you are comfortable with. So if we are talking about ECS, that is two-state three neighborhood CAs, in that case there were 8 RMTs 000 to 111. That RMTs can be numbered as 0 to 7. We can find some RMTs which are equivalent to each other. So those RMTs we say their equivalent RMTs, and some RMTs those are called uh, why they're equivalent, because if you look at the Divergent graph, okay, let me show to Divergent graph only. So if we look at the Divergent graph representing CA, we can see that for each node there are some incoming edges and some outgoing edges. So that this incoming edges from whichever edges or nodes it is coming, they will be creating the same outgoing edges. Now these outgoing edges corresponding to the sibling RMTs because they are generated together. If you might remember that these edges corresponds to the RMTs. So whatever RMTs are generated together, that is the outgoing edges that we club as the sibling RMTs, and whatever RMTs are coming to one node from different edges to generate the same set of sibling RMTs, we call them equivalent RMTs. So you can, if we look for the two-state three neighborhood states, then you can see that 0 and 4, they will be the equivalent RMTs. 0 means what? 0, 0, 0. 4 means 1, 0, 0. So that means here two overlapping sequence you can see which will result in generating same sibling RMTs 0 and 1, 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0, 1. So these are the sets for ECS 04. This is the equivalent RMT set 1, 1, 5 that is the second set, 2, 6 that is the third set, and 3, 7 that is the fourth set. So these sets we call it equi. Equi I will be varying from, for this ECS it will be varying from 0 to 3. Similarly, the sibling RMT sets also, there are also 4 sibling empty sets for each case. 0, 1, they are generated together at the outgoing edges of division graph. Similarly, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. These are the 4 sibling empty sets. So, if we see the equivalent identity and sibling identity, there are some relation. So, for each of the equivalent identity set, the next identities to be generated out of it will be the corresponding sibling identity set. So, if we are taking, say, QAI, the next identity in the sequence to be generated will be SIBLI. Now, I was talking about in sequence. So, what is this sequence? This sequence is identity sequence is another way of presenting configuration. For each configuration, we can collect the RMTs corresponding to each of the cells, and those RMTs for the configuration that will represent one RMT sequence. What is that? So number of RMT sequence will be obviously S to the power L. S here size of S you can think of if it is D state, that is D, and L is the lattice of the CA. So RMT sequence is obviously dependent on the boundary, because here we are considering finite CA, there is some boundary, and depending on the boundary condition, we have to generate the RMT sequence because for the boundary cells, whatever boundary condition we are considering, depending on that, the RMT value can change. For example, this one is the first figure. This is for null boundary. Null boundary means what? We are placing 0 as the leftmost and rightmost boundaries. So, first RMT, that is the first cell. If we consider 3 neighborhood structure, then for the first cell, the left neighbor is 0, right neighbor is 1. So the RMT is 0, 1, 1. In decimal value, it is 3. For the second cell, the RMT is 1, 1, 1. So decimal value is 7. For the third cell, it is 1, 1, 0. That is decimal value 6. For the fourth cell, it is 1, 0, 0. That is decimal value 4. So the RMT sequence for this, considering null boundary, will be 3, 7, 6, 4. Similarly, if we consider periodic boundary, that means what? Here, for the first cell, its boundary is the last cell itself. So we just copy this value here. So for the first cell, the RMT will be 0, 1, 1, that is 3. Second is similar to the previous case, that is 1, 1, 1, 7. Third is 1, 1, 0, 6. Fourth, its final cell. Here, what will be its boundary? Its boundary is the first cell. First cell value was 1, so we are copying 1 here. So here the RMT is 101, that is 5. So here, for the same configuration, the RMT sequence will be differing. Here it will be 3, 7, 6, 5. Now, for this talk, we will be interested in discussing about the periodic boundary configuration. That means we are always thinking that our lattice is just folded just like a circular arrow. So, for example, you can take an arbitrary configuration for 3 neighborhood 3-stage structure, that is 0, 1, 2, 0. It is a 4-cell configuration. So, RMT sequence will be, if we consider periodic boundary, that means the first cell it is 0, 0, 1, then 0, 1, 2, then 1, 2, 0, and the last cell is 2, 0, 0. So this is the RMT sequence for this configuration. Now, reachable, we can get some reachable configuration and some non-reachable configuration. This reachable and non-reachable configurations are just similar to the concept of orphans and Garden of Eden configuration. But those were defined over the infinite lattice. Here we will be defining over the finite lattice. What is reachable configuration? Reachable configuration means one configuration of a finite CA for which there is a predecessor. So there is something from which it is reachable. You can reach through the evolution of the CA. And when there is no predecessor of that configuration, it is called non-reachable configuration. For example, if we look at this transition diagram, so as in the question answer session, we were discussing that for finite CA we can build the transition diagram which will represent the evaluation of the CA. Here we are seeing two transition diagrams. For this first case, you can see that here every configuration is reachable. From every configuration, we can start when we can come back to that configuration. And every configuration has exactly one predecessor. So this is one type of CS. Another is where second one where you can see this 15, 5, 19, they don't have any predecessor. Similarly here 25 and 21, 23, 7, 11, they don't have any predecessor. As well as you can see this 8, 20, 24. These configurations have more than one predecessors. So here we have some non-reachable configuration just like this 15, 5, 19. Those are non-reachable configuration as well as some configurations which have more than one predecessor. So you already understand that this is a reversible CA and this first one is a reversible CA. So if we can think of reversible NCL CA in terms of reachable configuration, so for a reversible NCL CA, all configurations will be reachable. Now we can define the reachability tree. Reachability tree, it is a tree which represents all reachable and non-reachable configurations of the CA. So how we define it? For the tree, it will be combining the RMT sequence with the next configuration. So it is a pair will be combined together in the reachability tree. And the beauty of reachability tree is it can characterize any G-state, any neighborhood CA, let it be linear, non-linear, uniform, non-uniform, doesn't matter. For any boundary condition also, we can develop the reachability tree. Now, what will be the structure of this tree? It will be something like this. A tree, it is having some root. From the root, if we have d number of states, there will be d number of children, and it will be a tree-like structure. So, any of the age sequence from this root to the leaf, this will represent one configuration of the seed. Now this configuration, as the reachability tree name signifies, we are specifically interested to represent the reachable configurations. And you will see that from if we just draw the tree, at a glance you can see all reachable configurations and the configuration which is not reachable. That is the configuration which doesn't have a pre-image. All configuration will be combined. So by definition, we can this is the formal definition. So for a D state, n neighborhood NCL CA, with this tree will be rooted, age labeled D array tree with n plus 1 number of levels, where the root node will be at level 0 and leaves will be at level 1. And each node, this will be an ordered list of d to the power n minus 1 sets of RMTs. So each node has some content, that contents will be RMTs. Root will be starting with the sibling RMT set, because here we are considering periodic boundary C, will be starting with all RMTs in the root node, where each of the sibling RMT set will be combined together, and then from the root we will be developing the age depending on the root. There are some special levels for reachability tree. The last n minus L number of levels, where L depends upon the size of the neighborhood structure, some specific RMTs only can be present at the tree. So this is to satisfy the periodic boundary condition, because you have to come back to the root. So that's why these last levels are specifically designed to support the periodic boundary condition. Now for reachability tree, we can get non-reachable node and non-reachable edges. When one node will be non-reachable, if if it is having a non-reachable edge, that means the node actually doesn't exist in the tree. And when it will be having non-reachable edge, so the content of the edge, if the content of the edge is empty, then that edge is non-reachable. And corresponding to that edge, whatever node will be getting, that node is also not reachable. You can see an example how to develop the tree. Let us take this rule. Here it is a three neighborhood twisted CA rule. So as I said, the root contains all sibling RMTs. So here all RMTs we are placing here from 0 to 26. 0, 1, 2 is the first set, 3, 4, 5 second set. In this way, all 9 sets are there. Now for this rule, we have to find the 3 children nodes, because it is 3 states here, there will be 3 number of children. So these 3 children, one will be for 0 edge, another will be for 1 edge, another will be for 2 edge. 0 edge means we have to find the RMTs for which the next state value is 0 corresponding to the root. Now let us see for 0, 1, 2, RMT 0 is having next state value 0. For 3, 4, 5, 5 is having next state value 0. Similarly, 6, 7, 8, 7 is having next state value 0. In this way, we can find all the RMTs which is having next state value 0. We can put that in 0. For 1, you can see 0, 0, 1. RMT 1 is having 1. 4 is having 1. 6 is having 1. In this way, you can find, you can just list them. For 2 also, we can list them. Now, we have got the RMTs corresponding to each of the edges. Now, from the edge, we can now derive the node. How to derive it? We'll just take the sibling RMTs generated out of this RMT. So it is, if it is 0, what are the RMTs that can be sibling RMTs from out of it? That is 0. From 0 we can find 0, 1 or 2. So if you refer to the previous table of sibling RMT set, what we can do is we can just shift it one cell rightward, and that rightmost part will be filled with any of the state. So as it is 0, 0, 0, from 0 we can just 2 zeros will be there, and the third position will be filled with either 0 or 1 or 2. So it is 0, 1, 2. Similarly for 5, we can develop the sibling RMT set as 15, 16 and 17. In this way, for each of the RMTs will be forming the sibling RMT set, and all the sibling RMT set will be inside the same node. So in this way, you can just continue developing the tree following the rule, and will be getting a structure just like this. Here I have not mentioned the content of the tree, but the structure will be something like this. Now you can see there are some edges for which I have not mentioned any node. Why this is so? Because these edges doesn't contain any values. If it doesn't have any value, that is the set of RMT that is supposed to be present inside that node, those are, or inside that edge, those are empty. That means that edge becomes a non-reachable edge. Now for that non-reachable edge, there is no node because the content is empty, you can't find a node. So these nodes will be non-reachable nodes. For example, let us take this edge sequence. E0.0, E1.0, E2.0 and E3.1. This. So this is 0 edge, this is again 0 edge, this is 0 edge, and the last one is 1 edge. So this configuration 0, 0, 0, 1, this configuration is a non-reachable configuration for this CA. And whatever nodes we are having, like whatever paths we can complete from root to leaf, those will be the reachable configurations. So this reachability tree at a glance will give you what are the non-reachable configurations. If there exists any non-reachable configuration, that means the tree will be incomplete, and in that case it will be irreversible. Let us take another example. This is rule 51. For rule 51, if we take this is 4 cell CA, you can see that here, although if we just apply the conditions of this n minus 2th level and n minus 1th level, some nodes, for some nodes, some of the RMTs will be crossed out, they can't exist, but still the tree will be complete. That is, we will be getting for every edge will be there will be no non-reachable edge, and for every edge there will be some content inside it. So it will be a complete tree. There will be no non-reachable edge, so no non-reachable configuration as well. So that's why we can declare that this rule 51, this will be reversible if it is developed for 4 cells. So as I was hinting that reachability tree, we can decide reversibility by seeing the reachability tree. If it is complete, then it is reversible, because all the configurations of a reversible CA are supposed to be reachable. That means all reachable configurations would be present in that tree. So it is a D-array tree with n plus 1 number of levels. So all d to the power n number of configuration has to be present there. So that means the tree will be complete. Now the previous example, that is the first example I have shown you, that case the tree was incomplete, so it is irreversible, whereas for rule 51 the tree is complete, so it is reversible. But there is some other way also. You don't have to develop the complete tree to decide reversibility always. There is some other easier way that is derived from this theorem itself. So that theorem is, if it is a reachability tree can be complete if and only if there are only specific number of RMTs present in each of the levels of the edges. For the last few levels, that is the spatial levels, total number of RMTs present should be d to the power L minus 1, where d is the number of states and L is the specific level number. So if it is n minus L level, total number of RMTs present in the edge will be d to the power L minus 1, and all other levels where those are not the spatial levels, they will be having d to the power m minus 1 number of RMTs in those edges. For example, if we take d equal to 3 and n equal to 3, that is 3 state 3 neighborhood CA, the tree will be having 9 RMTs for each of the edges up to level n minus 3. So starting with the level 1 up to level n minus 3, we will be having each edge with exactly 9 RMTs, and for level n minus 2 we will be having 3 RMTs for each of the edges, and for n minus 1 level we will be having only 1 RMT per edge. So this is the criteria. If this criteria is not satisfied, we can easily declare that the CA is not going to be reversible. Now this is for edge. Similarly, we can just form the condition for node. So in case of node, it will be d RMPs if it is in level n, d to the power L RMPs if it is in level n minus L, where L are the spatial levels from the leaf to up to the m minus 1 levels, and d to the power m RMPs for all other nodes, all the non-spatial level nodes. Just like if we look at the tree for starting with the root up to level n minus 3, there will be 27 RMTs for each of the nodes. For level n minus 2, we will have 9 RMTs. For level n minus 1, we will be having 3 RMTs, and for the last level also we will be having 3 RMTs. So we also can get balanced node. Balanced node means what? We'll have equal number of RMTs per state inside this balanced node. For example, if we just develop the root of a balanced rule, where balanced rule means you have already seen that is in the rule, each of the state has equal share. If we just you take such a rule and draw the root of the reachability tree, obviously as all the elements are present, that node will be balanced node. But it is not necessary that for the remaining nodes, always the nodes will be or will be balanced. But if it is not balanced, we can declare that the CA is not reversible, because most of the reachability tree for a reversible CA has to be balanced. For example, if we take the previous CA, the rule itself is balanced, but all the nodes doesn't satisfy this balanced property. So this CA is irreversible. Whereas for rule 51, we can say that the rule is balanced as well as each of the node is balanced, and the CA satisfies all reversibility conditions. So it will be reversible for n equals to 4. So how do we decide the reversibility of any finite CA? We can just develop the reachability tree and see whether this reversibility condition given by the theorems are satisfied or not. That is, we have to check whether the nodes are balanced or not, then how many number of RMPs are there in the node, and if it is satisfied, finally we have to see if the tree will be complete or not. If all these conditions are satisfied, you can say, okay, our CA is reversible. But what can be the problem? You can think like our tree, as it is a tree-like structure, so it will be growing with n. So if it is a very big n we are talking about, then total number of nodes and edges in the tree, that might be difficult to manage. So how do we solve it? How do we just find a easier structure to manage? There is obviously some solution. We have to observe the tree in that case. We can observe that if we have, say, two nodes, n I dot j and I dot k, where I is the level of the node, at which level it is present, and j and k are the number of the nodes. In that case, if j is not equals to k, so these two nodes will be roots of two similar subtrees of the same level. In that case, obviously, whatever are generated out of these two nodes, all these subtree will be exactly same. So we can avoid using one subtree. Similarly, it is true for the levels also. Also, we can observe that instead of being in the same level, it might happen that one node of some lower levels may be similar to some upper levels. Maybe we have got one node which has already been created in some previous level. Then also the same thing will happen, that the nodes that will follow the previous subtree will be exactly repeated for the following node. So here also we can skip using the duplicate part. So you can finally observe that we have only finite number of RMTs, and we are specifically dividing the RMTs into some sets following the rule. After few levels, no unique node is generated. So there is only finite number of nodes possible in a reachability tree. So if we just use those unique nodes for arbitrary large n also, we need not to develop the whole tree. We'll be happy with only the unique nodes. Once all unique nodes are generated, we don't have to develop the whole tree, or we just keep that developing whole tree, and we can characterize the behavior of the CA simply by the smaller version of the tree. That smaller version will be naming as minimized tree. Now let us look at this. The situation that I have talked about. First situation is, suppose this n2.1 and n2.2, those are same. So in that case, all these two subtrees, this subtree and this subtree will be similar. So what we can do? We can just skip developing this part, and to keep track of that edge, that is one edge was there which was developing this node, we can just add a link from the parent of this node n22 to the node which is duplicate of this n22. So we add this link. Similarly, it might happen that, say, this node n2.3 and n0.0, this root and this node, they are similar, but they are not in the same level. In that case, what we can do? Obviously, this node is developed fast, so we can just discard n2.3, and to keep track of this edge, we add one link from the parent of this n2.3, that is from n1.1 to the duplicate node that was generated before. So this n0.0 is connected through this link. So in this way, we can minimize the structure of the reachability tree to some manageable number of nodes. So we develop the minimized reachability tree. What is the benefit of this tree? Okay. What is the benefit of this tree? This tree will not be growing exponentially. Only unit number of nodes are there, but what we have to do? We have to put some extra links or connections to keep track of which node was generated from which. So, for example, for observation 1, we can exclude n I.k and add a link from the parent of I.j to I.k. For observation 2 also, we can exclude that the later node and form a link from the parent of I.k to I.j. So some loops will be formed. From these loops, what we can identify? Suppose we have a node that appears in both labels I and I dash. So in that case, we have got a loop. So in that loop, we can keep track of the loop. What you can do, that easier way is, for each of the node, we can just keep track of which of the labels it is going to be present. So say this one node has two levels like I and I dash, where say I is greater than I dash. Then that means this node is going to appear again and again depending on the difference of levels I and I dash. So if there is one label P, that is the for P's cell you can think of, then if P minus I dash, this value is equals to 0 mod of I minus I dash. In this way, we can see whether this level, at this level, whether this node can reappear or not. As it is loop, if it is a two-length loop, you can see that after each two cells, that particular node will be repeating. So for each level, depending on the first appearance of the node, we can find after on which level it is again going to reappear. So just simply using this equation, we can decide whether the node can exist at a particular level P or not. So another advantage that we can find is, whenever a node is getting multiple levels, whenever one loop is generated, we can directly check whether this node can belong to the spatial levels, just like n-2 or n-1 for tree neighborhood condition. Because for those spatial levels, we know that some RNTs cannot be present. So whether for those spatial levels that node is going to be unbalanced or going to have less number of RNTs or not, that you can check before. You don't have to go up to that level to decide on that. So this is one advantage that you can get if we just observe the loop and apply this condition. So here, by checking this value of p as n minus 2 or n minus 1 or say n minus m minus 1 for any arbitrary m, we can check whether the CA is violating reversibility condition for the spatial levels. This is going to be useful for our case. So how do we develop the reachability tree? For example, if we take ECS 75, we can see that the minimized tree for any n, you can take any n like 1000, 10,000, any arbitrary number you can take about, but the minimized tree will be structure will be just like this. We can see there are some loops which are marked as in dash. That means those loops are also not relevant, because see here, once we are using this loop, then the subtree is automatically generated. So there is no need of again using this loop, because through this subtree itself automatically the other nodes will be generated. So although so many loops will be there, we can discard most of them and just concentrate over a small number of nodes and small number of loops. Here there are only 21 number of nodes for this minimized tree, having length height 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only height is 5 and total number of nodes is 21. So you can decide the reversibility using this minimized tree. So we can take any number of cell as input and we can develop the minimized tree, which stores only the unique nodes of the tree. At the time of creation of every new node, we will be checking whether the node can belong to the spatial level. If it is belonging to the spatial level, we have to check whether for the spatial level it is violating reversibility condition or not. Then, even if it is not in the spatial level, can the node itself violate the reversibility condition, like it is not balanced or it is having lesser number of RMTs or not? So while we develop each node, we will be checking this condition. If these conditions are not satisfied, then we can write on the point itself, we can declare that the CA is not reversible. But if the node is, the minimized tree is completely created, then we can declare that our CA is reversible. For example, let us develop this rule 7, ECS 75 tree. Here up to level 2, only unique nodes are generated. So there is no loop and no duplicate node. Now for level 3, you can see that this node and this node, N2, N3.4 and N3.0. These two nodes are duplicates of these two nodes. So we just like I have said, we'll be adding link to keep track of that node. So once we add the link, this N1.0's level will be updated. It was having first only the level 1. Now it can also appear in level 3. So it is added. 3 is added here. Similarly, as it is appearing in level 3, its children can also appear in level 4. So here 2.4 it is added. So here 3.1, this will appear in 3.5. So similarly, the whole subtree levels will be updated. This is up to level 3. Now what will happen in level 4? Let's see. For level 4, again we get some new unique nodes and some duplicate nodes. For example, here one duplicate node was there, for which we are getting another link. But this link is already, whatever this link was going to do, it is already done by the previous loop, because here it is 2.4 was already there, 3.5 was already there. So it is irrelevant. So we are not using it, we are discarding this loop. But see this loop. Here N3.3, Previously, we were having here 3, 5. But here we have got a self loop. Self loop means this node is going to appear at every level from level onwards. So here we are updating this level. So instead of 3, 5, now it is updated as 3, 4. Similarly, it is also updated as 3, 4. Now at level 5, the structure will be something like that. You will be having most of the irrelevant loops and only 2 nodes will be added. And if we go for level 6, we can see that there are no more unique nodes. So we can, and up to this level 6, none of the nodes have violated any reversibility condition. So we can declare the CA as reversible for this specific n, whatever n we has given. Now this is another example of rule 51. So here the minimum tree will be having this structure. Here also we can see that none of the nodes is violating reversibility conditions. So it will be reversible for, actually this is going to be reversible for every n. You take any n, it is going to be reversible. How it is so, we will be discussing next. These are some of the strategies to identify the potential candidates of reversible CA. You can see that for when the CA has maximum chance of being reversible if it is not violating the reversible conditions up to the spatial levels, maybe say n-2 for 3 neighborhood case. So depending on that, we can devise some strategy to make the tree at least balanced up to that level. So these are the 3 strategies which are developed, which will give you more number of like the set of CS which are generated by these strategies. They have more chance of being reversible than any arbitrary CA. So these are some of the examples which we can form using the strategies, and when it will be reversible for some arbitrary nodes. You can see total number of unique nodes here. Even if we are taking, say, this is the size of n, but number of unique nodes here is 592. Here it is 88. Maximum we have found it is 1371. That is the maximum we have found for 3 neighborhood 3 states here, and that is for any arbitrary n. And most of the cases, the number of labels for after which you can declare whether it is reversible or not, it is very small. And maximum value we have seen here is 19. So if n is more than 19, then obviously we can, our total reachability tree will be formed beforehand, and we can decide whether the C is going to be reversible or not. Okay, so now we have decided the reversibility for a finite CA. But we started with infinite CA. Now our question is there any relation between these reversibility cases, the 4 cases we have discussed? For reversibility, we know that every configuration has exactly one predecessor and the global transition function is bijective. But for finite CA, you can see that reversibility depends on lattice size. For example, the rule 75 we are discussing, that is reversible when the size of n is odd. If it is even, it is not reversible. And one CA can be reversible for a set of lattice sizes. For example, rule 51, this is reversible if we take the set of lattice sizes as the set of natural numbers. For every n, this is going to be reversible. Whereas for infinite CA, this n is not there, so reversibility is dependent upon the rule only. And this was a relation we have seen for the infinite CAs. So So previously we have seen that there were three cases. For the three cases, there were decidability algorithms for reversibility, and those three cases were equivalent to each other for one-dimensional CA. And now we have developed for case for CA also some algorithm to decide reversibility. Now, what can be the relation between these two cases, these four cases rather? So our target is want to find whether there is some relation between the reversibility of finite and infinite CAs. Challenge is it possible to understand reversibility of infinite CA by exploring the CA for a small size? Say we are exploring the finite CA of some specific sizes, not all sizes obviously, some specific sizes, and we want to decide whether what will be the nature of reversibility for the CA if same rule is there but it is defined over infinite lattice. So that is our first target. Second target is if there exists any relation between the reversibility of case 4 CAs with the other three cases. Now you might remember that in the last day's classes, it was already discussed that periodic boundary condition and periodic configuration, they have some equivalence. So we can extrapolate about periodic configuration's behavior from the periodic boundary condition itself. For one-dimensional CA, you have also observed that injectivity of GP, that is case 2 CAs, defined over periodic configuration, that is equivalent to injectivity of G for infinite CAs, defined over all infinite configurations. Now, injectivity of GP is what we are talking about periodic configuration. Periodic configuration means injectivity of periodic boundary CA of length n for all possible n's. So here we are taking Gn over all n, where n belongs to the set of natural numbers. So we are taking periodic boundary CAs for all possible n's. We are just increasing the number of cells in that CA, and if we look for all possible n's, that will be obviously equivalent to the behavior of CA over periodic configurations. So our target is we want to extrapolate about the injectivity of GP from injectivity of Gn, where n is defined over all set of all natural numbers. There is some problem though. What is the problem? For case 4 CAs, reversibility is related with lattice size. So when lattice size is different, the behavior might be different. For example, this 101, it is reversible if n is odd. Just like 75, it is reversible when n is odd. Whereas 51 is reversible for any lattice size. So we can decide about reversibility or the injectivity of GP when Gn is injective for every n. But what if Gn is injective for some specific n's only? It can happen if we take ECA 101 or ECA 75 or ECA 45 or something like that. Those kind of CAs whose behaviors change depending upon the cell size. So we might get some reversible CAs which are reversible for only specific n's belonging to the set of natural numbers. So this is a new class of reversibility for finite CAs. We call them the semi-reversible CAs. So for the need of the finite CA, we have to define reversibility again. So we call a CA with a specific rule R. Now this is defined with R, not G. We call this reversible if Gn, that is the global transition function defined over N, is bijective on the set of all configurations of length n for each n belongs to the set of naturals. So if for all n Gn is bijective, we call that CA with the same rule as reversible for infinite. Now, strictly irreversible, Strictly reversible is when Gn is not bijective for each n. Then we call that CA strictly reversible. So these strictly reversible CAs are going to be irreversible for infinite CA. Now there is this semi-reversible CA, which will be interesting. These semi-reversible CAs are those CAs which are bijective on the set of all configurations of length n for some specific n's. So this set of n's for which the CA is going to be reversible, that can be finite set or that can be infinite set. So all those CAs which are behaving differently for different n, we call them semi-reversible CAs. So these are the list of reversible, strictly reversible and semi-reversible rules for ECA. You can see that there are only 4 ECA which are reversible. We are taking the that minimal representation. So strictly reversible ECAs are, this is a long list, and the remaining rules are semi-reversible. You can notice that there are some rules which I have mentioned in bold. I'll be explaining why it is so. So first, we can declare when a CA is reversible. This is actually very easy. If the CA is reversible for size n equals to 1, that is for the first one cell itself, if it is irreversible, then we can declare easily that this CA is going to be reversible for any n. That is, it is strictly reversible. How do we do that? So if we consider cell size as 1, what are the possible configurations? That is, if it is D state, that is 0, 1, 2, 3 to D minus 1. So if it is 2 state only, you can think about it is 0 and 1. So if it is irreversible for this primary case, that means what? For say for ECA, we have 0 and 1, and those are mapping to the same configuration. So obviously we can just keep on adding zeros and ones. Like we can just take 0 to the power n or 1 to the power n, and that will be again mapping to the same configuration. So this many to one mapping will be continued. So we can directly say that this CA is going to be strictly reversible. For example, if we take rule 30, for rule 30, 0, 0, 0, RNT 0, 0, 0 and RNT 7, 1, 1, 1, they are having same value 0. That means what? For all 0 and all 1, these two configurations will be always mapped to the same configuration, all 0. So it is irreversible for any n. Now, for semi-reversibility, we can define two classes of semi-reversibility depending on the size of the cells for which the CA is reversible. One is trivial. When we call it trivial, if the CA is semi-reversible for only a finite set of sizes. So the n's for which it is reversible, if that's those number of n's are only finite, we call it trivially semi-reversible. Otherwise, we call it non-trivially semi-reversible. For example, if we take ECA 45 or this 3-state CA, these are reversible when n is odd. So if n is odd, that is the set of odd natural numbers, this is also an infinite set. So we call it non-trivially semi-reversible. Whereas if we take ECA 29, 43, these are reversible only when n is either 1, 2 or 3. This fixed number of cells. So we call it trivial semi-reversible. So our target is we want to identify reversible CAs and identify the class of reversibility, that is the reversible CAs, semi-reversible CAs. Among semi-reversible CAs, the trivial semi-reversible as well as non-trivial semi-reversible and the strictly reversible CA. Now for strictly reversible CA, we have already one theorem that will be helping us. For trivial semi-reversible CA also, we can predefine some condition. For example, if the rule is unbalanced, then and if there is two RMTs, here I am written to primary RMT set, you can just ignore that. So you can think of like there are two RMTs which just like which corresponds to two edges having self loops in the de Bruygerian graph, then if for those two edges there are or those two cycles there are different uh, next configuration and the rule itself is unbalanced, then this will be trivial semi-reversible. What is that? Suppose the rule is unbalanced and we can think of, like, say we are taking ECA with only two states, only two cells. So for 0, I have already told that if it is 0 and 1, and if 0 and 1 are not having the same next configuration, then it is not strictly reversible. For 2 also, what are the possibilities? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. If those are not mapping to the same configuration, you can say it is not irreversible for that size. But as the rule is unbalanced, after some time, obviously there will be one cell length for which it is going to be reversible, because it will be after some time when all possible configurations are supposed to be generated, it will be reversible. So only for finite number of cases it can be reversible. That's why you call it trivially semi-reversible. But the problem here will be how to distinguish a non-trivial semi-reversible CA from reversible CA. So for reversible CA also we are going to have infinite set of n's for which it is reversible, and for semi-reversible CA also we are going to have infinite set of n's. So we have to identify that those infinite n's for which it is reversible. So there will be obviously some kind of expression which will represent those lattice sizes. So this is our target that we are going to do. How to do that? We are going to again use the minimized reachability tree, because it is representing the total information about the reachability tree about the CA for any n. So for the first case, that is if XX says, like here we are considering three neighborhood, you can think of any neighborhood if two RMTs are there for which the next state value is same and these are of this structure, then you can say directly that it is going to be strictly reversible. Similarly, for semi-reversible, trivial semi-reversible also, if it is unbalanced, we can declare. Then if the minimized tree has any unbalanced node at some level I, that means from that level onward, that unbalanced node will be playing a role. So it is going to be trivially semi-reversible for all n greater than or equals to that level. Similarly, if we have in the minimized tree a node which is having a self loop and it gets unbalanced for some specific level, say n minus n, then it will be trivially semi-reversible for all level greater than equals all n greater than equals to that level. So this is about trivial semi-reversible and strictly reversible. But about the non-trivial semi-reversible and reversible case, you will be having loops in the minimized tree. So minimized tree is going to be complete. There will not be any such cases like we will be getting unbalanced node in between. That will not happen. So our complete minimized tree we can draw. So if there is no node that violates reversibility condition, we can declare that the CA is reversible for all n. Now, if CA is reversible for some n, that means we'll be having some node inside some loop, which we can decide by using the previous equation, that is our node can be present in this level or not. Now, if for this particular level, the CA is violating reversibility condition, then we can develop an expression just using the previous expression, that is n equals to k into I dash minus I plus n, and this n, the value of n that we can get by just varying the value of k, this will give you the set of n's for which the CA will be irreversible. Say we denote I as the CA sizes we are getting from this n. So for all others n, our CA is not going to our tree is not going to violate the reversibility condition. That means n by I set here, this is the set minus relation, that will be the set of CS areas for which the CA will be reversible. So this will give you the expression of reversibility for non-trivially semi-reversible CS. So this one is an example for 4 neighborhood 2-state CA. This is a reversible CA. You can see that if you just derive the expression, you will be seeing that this is going to be, this is not, no node is there which is violating reversibility condition for any n. Whereas if we take the previous example of rule 75, we can see that if we take n as even, then this is going to be irreversible. So this is non-trivially semi-reversible CA with expression n equals to k plus I, where 2k plus 1, where k belongs to n. So these are some examples of classification of some CAs using the minimalist tree. And if we just draw the minimalist tree, we can not only classify the CA, you can also get the expression of reversibility, that is when it is going to be reversible. For reversible CA, this set is going to be empty. For non-trivial semi-reversible CA, we will be getting some expression which will give you the ends for which it will be irreversible. So by using this minimalist tree, we can now derive one relation about reversibility. If our height of the tree is n0, so sufficient length to decide reversibility class will be n0 plus m plus 1. M is the neighborhood, size of neighborhood. Now let us take one set GR star, which is the set of Gn over all n. That is the set of global transition functions for rule R when n belonging to the set of naturals. Now GR star is, we call it reversible if each of the GNs are reversible. So GN is reversible for each n. That in that case we call it GR star is reversible. Now it will be strictly reversible if Gn is irreversible for each n, and we call it semi-reversible if Gn is irreversible for only some n's. So GR star, you can say it is either reversible or strictly reversible or semi-reversible. If GR star is reversible, that means Gn is reversible for every n. So that also means GP is going to be injective from the periodic, from the relation between periodic configuration and periodic boundary configuration, and from the equivalence with periodic configuration and G, you can say that G is going to be injective. Whereas if GR star is strictly reversible, that means GP is not injective. So G will not be injective. So this, if we take the sets of CAs with G injective, GP injective, GF injective, and GN injective, then obviously these three sets will be equivalent, whereas this SR, that is the set of CAs which are injective for some ends, this is going to be the superset. So this is our new relation where we can add this GR, and if GR star is semi-reversible, that then also GP is not going to be injective, and GR star is strictly reversible means GP is not going to be injective. So this is the new relation about reversibility. So there are some open problems. For example, we still don't know what is the necessary and sufficient lattice size of the height of the minimized tree, that is n0, which will help you to decide reversibility of finite CA with any n, and what will be the minimum length to explore a finite CA to decide about the reversibility behavior of any infinite lattice. Then you can think of developing one optimal algorithm to find the inverse CA, and if there exists some relation between null boundary CAs and infinite CAs. So these are the open problems of reversibility for one-dimensional CAs. And Professor Kari probably discussed that. He also discussed that in general, for higher dimension, most of the problems are undecidable, and similarly, it is also undecidable for reversibility. Okay. Thank you for listening to my more than 2 hour talk. If you have any
Thank you.
question, please let me know.
Yeah. Thank you, Kamalika, for your enlightening talk on reversibility. So, is there any question?
Okay, Kaulika, I have a question. So, you are talking about some open problems where you wanted to relate reversibility of infinite case and finite case, and reversal of finite case. So, do you have any guess? So, what is the relation? I mean, you are talking about say n zero, the minimum length, right? And do you have any idea, guess about n zero?
Yeah, we have guess, but we are not able to prove it. So it is like if we talk about m neighborhoods districts here, then it is probably not more than d to the power m. It will be less than d to the power m. So it might be d to the power m minus 1, but we are not sure because we have experimentally also have seen that it is just like for three neighborhood districts here, it is size of n is only 19. Whereas d to the power m means it will be going to be 27. So obviously it is lesser than that, but we have not proved it yet. And it varies with like for only for reversible CS. If it is semi-reversible, then it is going to be more. If it is reversible, it will be very small. Then maybe it will be lesser than e to the power n minus 1.
Yeah. In fact, I am listening to this talk, after a long interval. So maybe after 2 or 3 years. So, so to me, these are the recaps of the old concepts.
Is
Okay.
there any connection between CA and data mining?
Sorry.
I got one question. Is there any connection between CA and data mining? CA is basically a tool, so you can use that CA with whatever information you are going to store. Obviously, you can store it. So maybe you can use it for data mining also. Yeah, sir.
So just I have a comment. Maybe that in case of say number conservation, we do the same thing. We relate size. We find some small size. Just by observing that one, we can say whether the CA, is whether automaton is number conserving or not. So maybe you're talking about talking same line. So you want to find out some small size, say n0, and you want to work on that, and based on that, you want to say many things. For example, for which size they are, I mean, in case of say reversible, say for which size they are reversible, which size they are not, and for which in this way actually. So that you want to do, but in case of number conservation, as I was saying, that similar kind of works are there. So the same line. So yeah, so that's a comment. Okay. Any question from anyone else?
Yeah, people, please unmute yourself and speak out if you have any question. I think it is over the head.
Okay. Shukun, are you here?
Yes, sir. So I think there is no more question, Kamalika. Again, thank you for your nice talk, and we got lot of things actually for me also. A lot of things regarding the reversibility. So we will be back again around 2:30, and At 2:30, there will be the talk will be given by Professor Charko Kari. So we are again waiting for listening from him. So now we are ending the session. Thank you again. Thank you, Kamolika. Thank you, the participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.